The U.S. Senate is locked in a marathon session, a grueling legislative battle stretching late into the night. The air is thick with anticipation and political maneuvering. Debating President Trump's sweeping One Big Beautiful Bill, a piece of legislation so vast in scope, it touches nearly every facet of American life. A package that would overhaul taxes, fundamentally altering the way individuals and corporations are taxed. Immigration, with provisions that could reshape the nation's approach to border security and immigration policy, and social policy in one stroke, impacting everything from healthcare to education. With a razor-thin majority, the stakes couldn't be higher. Republicans face immense pressure to deliver a July 4th victory, a symbolic win that would solidify their power. As Trump frames the bill as a patriotic must-win, urging his party to unite behind his vision for the country, the bill aims to make Trump's tax cuts permanent, a cornerstone of his economic agenda. Ramp up border security, investing heavily in border infrastructure and enforcement, and slash government spending, a move that promises to shrink the size and scope of the federal government, delighting supporters and alarming critics who fear the bill's potential consequences for vulnerable populations. Democrats are forcing tough votes on popular programs, strategically highlighting the bill's potential downsides, hoping to fracture GOP unity and set the stage for the 2026 midterms, where they aim to regain control of Congress. Every vote is under the microscope, scrutinized by the media, advocacy groups, and the American public, with the outcome poised to reshape the nation's economic and social trajectory for years, leaving a lasting legacy. As the Senate burns the midnight oil, fueled by coffee and determination, the fate of Trump's signature legislation hangs on a handful of pivotal senators, their decisions holding the power to alter the course of American history. At the bill's core lies a series of significant changes, most notably the permanent extension of the 2017 tax cuts. These cuts, initially framed as temporary measures to stimulate the economy, are now set to become a permanent fixture of the fiscal landscape. Adding to the mix is a headline-grabbing elimination of federal income tax on tips for service workers. This provision, while seemingly beneficial, raises questions about its long-term impact on the tax system and potential unintended consequences. But the real impact extends far beyond these headline items, with a massive shift of federal dollars directed towards border security initiatives. This includes funding for increased Border Patrol presence, expanded detention facilities, and notably, mass deportations. The bill also allocates substantial resources to a military buildup, signaling a renewed focus on defense spending and projecting American power abroad. To pay for these ambitious initiatives, the bill enacts significant cuts to vital social programs, starting with Medicaid. These cuts extend to student loans, making higher education less accessible for many, and other essential social programs that provide a safety net for vulnerable populations. This forces states to make difficult choices, potentially cutting coverage for millions of residents who rely on these services. Furthermore, the bill guts clean energy funding, effectively hindering the transition to a sustainable economy. This involves rolling back support for renewable energy sources and doubling down on fossil fuels, despite growing concerns about climate change. Consequently, business leaders and environmentalists alike are raising serious concerns, warning that these policies could stifle innovation in crucial sectors and ultimately harm U.S. competitiveness in the global market. The bill's deep cuts and policy shifts mark a sharp reversal of recent trends, particularly in energy and social policy, prioritizing the current administration's agenda over previously established reforms and initiatives. For many voters, this represents a stark choice between prioritizing short-term economic growth and national security, or investing in a robust social safety net and a sustainable green future for generations to come. Despite staunch White House backing and a full-court press from the administration, the bill's fate hangs precariously in the balance, threatened by a growing GOP split. The internal divisions are becoming increasingly apparent. With a razor-thin majority, Republicans can only afford 3 defections. Every vote counts, and the pressure is mounting. Senators Rand Paul and Thom Tillis are leading the dissent, voicing strong concerns about the bill's implications. Paul is decrying what he sees as runaway spending, warning of the long-term consequences for the nation's fiscal health, and Tillis is warning of potentially devastating Medicaid cuts in his state, highlighting the impact on vulnerable populations. Trump's pressure on wavering senators is relentless. he's pulling out all the stops to secure their support. After Tillis's public opposition, he faces a swift and fierce primary threat, signaling the potential consequences of defying the president. Under immense pressure, Tillis unexpectedly announces his retirement, sending shockwaves through the party and raising questions about its future direction. Even Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, laments the loss of a key member, acknowledging the damage inflicted by the internal strife. This incident is highlighting the increasingly high cost of Trump's unwavering demand for absolute loyalty within the Republican ranks. The escalating debate exposes a deep and widening rift within the Republican Party, a clash between Trump's populist base and more traditional conservatives, who are increasingly uneasy with the direction of the party. These traditional conservatives are wary of the potential fiscal and political fallout from the bill, fearing its long-term consequences. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is joining the growing chorus of critics, expressing particular concern over the bill's proposed energy policy changes. For many Republicans, this vote has become a crucial loyalty test, a defining moment that could shape their political future. They must choose: back Trump and his agenda, or risk facing political exile and the wrath of his loyal supporters. As the vote approaches, the Republican Party's future hangs precariously in the balance, its unity threatened by deep divisions and conflicting loyalties. Senate Democrats led by Chuck Schumer mount a fierce opposition using the vote-a-rama to spotlight the bill's most unpopular cuts. Every failed amendment on Medicaid, clean energy, or student aid becomes campaign ammunition for 2026. Outside the chamber, Democrats mobilize activists and target swing state Republicans, aiming to make the bill a defining midterm issue. Schumer even praises Tillis's stand, hoping to widen GOP divisions and appeal to moderates. The strategy: show the bill is too extreme for even some Republicans and win over public opinion. Democrats see opportunity in the backlash, especially in states hit hardest by the cuts. The fight is as much about shaping the next election as stopping the bill. As the final votes loom, the bill's impact is already reshaping politics. Moderates like Tillis and Bacon are leaving, deepening GOP radicalization. Open seats and party infighting are redrawing the 2026 electoral map. Meanwhile, ICE raids and hardline trade moves show the administration's priorities in action. If the bill passes, millions could lose healthcare, clean energy will stall, and the national debt may soar. If it fails, Trump faces a stunning defeat and a paralyzed agenda. This vote is more than policy. It's a turning point for America's future and the senators' own legacies. The nation watches as a handful of senators decide which path the country will take.